Thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And social media entrepreneur Breezy Gipson right here.
And we're glad that you've joined us. Rock with us once again. Can you believe it? The last Saturday of 2023. The new year is right there upon us. And, it's been a blast doing the show. And of course, already looking forward to the next one and planning and doing what we can to make sure that you have all the information that you need to develop your career in the way that you want to, right?
Yes, I can believe it.
Yeah. So, all right. Before we get started, of course, super huge shout out to our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I say we just go ahead and dive right on into this. How about you?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson on Music Knowledge Radio.
Hey, family, this is Breezy Gipson, social media influencer. If you're an aspiring artist, or if you're a seasoned professional music artist, and you have a music video that you want to share with a global television audience, your search is over. Whether it's jazz, rock, hip hop, Latino, gospel, pop music, country, house, techno, reggae, Hispanic, and other genres, this is the right spot. Whether you're located in the United States, Europe, Africa, South America, India, Mexico, Asia, Australia, Italy, or other countries, we got you covered. Contact me at getsparksnow@gmail.com. That's GETSPARKXNOW@gmail.com, or leave me a message at 678-632-2620. Let's get it together.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, Achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's Achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen.
Hey, family. This is Breezy Gipson, social media influencer. If you're an aspiring artist or if you're a seasoned professional music artist and you have a music video that you want to share with a global television audience, your search is over. Whether it's jazz, rock, hip hop, Latino, gospel, pop music, country, house, techno, reggae, Hispanic, and other genres, this is the right spot. Whether you're located in the United States, Europe, Africa, South America, India, Mexico, Asia, Australia, Italy, or other countries, we got you covered. Contact me at getsparksnow@gmail.com. That's GETSPARKXNOW@gmail.com, or leave me a message at 678-632-2620. Let's get it together.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen. All right, we're back with music industry news. It's been a lot of stuff just kind of floating around, but these were some of the stories that, I feel like there's a lot to kind of unpack a little bit, and some stuff is just good to know. So here we go with the highlights. Medallion, which is a platform for artists to connect directly with fans, has raised $13.7 million in a recent funding round. And so their whole goal is basically to provide artists with a specialized digital space or hub where they can showcase album releases, tour schedules, new merch releases, sell digital collectibles, exclusive content, and just you name it. They got a lot of stuff going on there. But basically, their goal is try to cultivate stronger bonds with fans by offering this dedicated hub, so that way artists can connect and see what they're actually looking for, and get the fan engagement that they've been seeking. It's something that we've talked about on the show multiple times before, that with streaming being the way that it is, sometimes artists have a little bit harder time, and so this is what they're trying to alleviate. The company basically says that they're going to use the fresh capital they just got to introduce new early access options, including previews of any unreleased music, pre-sale tickets, and various member perks like video premieres or updates. And so, of course, they go into detail a little bit more on their company website about that, because that could mean a lot of things. But yeah, if you're interested, make sure that you check it out. And soon, artists are going to have the capability to vend new, exclusive, and limited edition digital collectibles, NFTs, poster bundles, trading cards, you name it. So yeah, and that's a word we haven't heard in the news for a while, at least for music industry, was NFTs. But yeah, I remember at one point it seemed like every week we had multiple stories, but they're still around. It's not getting as much buzz as it was initially, but there's still a tremendous opportunity for artists to be able to connect with fans and super fans through using things like that. So there we go, Medallion, something for you to check out.
Yeah. There's always a welcome for opportunities like this, and so they came in at the right time with the right attitude for helping artists. So yeah. Kind of strong.
All right, this next story. Typically, personally, I hate anytime I see articles where they're talking about how much some artist is worth, and what's their net worth? They're at such and such. Because honestly, that really doesn't have anything at all to do with the quality of music. But in this particular story, I think it's important just because of how they got this wealth. But BTS members have now become some of the wealthiest shareholders in the music industry in Korea. So this is how this happened right before the pandemic. I believe we actually shared some stories related to this around the time we kicked off the show again. But in 2018, when they were actually renewing their contract with Hybe, part of the deal was that they got shares within the company. So I mean, by that point, they were super huge stars. It was obvious that they were basically the cash cow of the label. And so they actually were able to get that interpreted into dollars. So that way they were invested in the company that was handling their music, which, I mean, made perfect sense. Obviously, it's a great move. And now they've amassed much wealth because of it. So, yeah, they received 68,385 shares from Hybe when the contracts were reviewed or renewed. And then the total shares held by all 7 members is over 10 billion won, which is 7.7 million in US dollars. But that reflected a 20% increase since February. So their earnings are attributed to the success of various artists associated with the label, because not only was BTS huge, but groups like New Jeans, 17, and some other individual accomplishments the group members had have basically just dominated the global music charts. And so now they're getting to take part in what the front end and the back end. So, just something to keep in mind, especially for anybody that's actually out there considering signing to a label, whether it be like a smaller independent one, large, or whatever the case may be. But, if you've got the fans and the power behind you, to where that you're actually bringing something to the label, you can actually negotiate that type of stuff into your contract like they did, and obviously it's paying off.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had the right approach, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And are taking well advantage of it. And so, hey, yeah, I got to commend them for what they're doing.
Yeah. Because like I say, I typically shy away from stories like that. I'm like, no, this is a really good thing. So, yeah. Because
a lot of artists, kind of sit back and dilly dally around and go with the crowd and stuff like that. But see, these folks, they didn't do that.
Right.
They was just straight. Okay, like a football player used to say, "Straight cash, honey."
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's a very good thing. And like I said, I mean, a lot of these stories you could just kind of watch and try to figure out how to model it, what you do based off of that. Sometimes you don't have to go through all the stuff that other people do. You can just kind of sit and watch and learn just by observing. So, we mention that a lot when we talk about, anytime somebody wants out of a contract and all this other stuff. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to make the same mistakes other people have made. Just kind of check. Pay attention to what's going on and, keep that in mind when you're sitting in these rooms making these negotiations and deals. Don't sell yourself short.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And this particular one I thought was kind of interesting too. BMG has exited the live music business by selling its stakes in both Undercover and Caro. So in 2021, BMG decided to get into the live music industry by acquiring a controlling interest in the concert promoter Undercover. Then the next year in 2021, they got a controlling interest in Caro, and basically, they're recognized for their renowned Suburtal Festival. But last month, BMG said that they wanted to kind of focus on the core recorded music and publishing business. And so they announced that they were going to be, just changing the structure of the organization. So they've already taken the first step towards that. And I think that this is kind of interesting to look at. One, because, at the start of 2020, of course, everybody's feeling ambitious about things. And so, they figured they'd give it a try. But there's nothing wrong at all with pivoting if you realize it's not working out, or you feel like the other facets of the business are suffering. So, a lot of times people always kind of look at that as a bad thing, when people sell off their stakes in different things, but not necessarily. So I'll be kind of interested to see any other steps they take in reorganizing. But yeah, this will be kind of interesting to watch to see if it helps them accomplish what they're trying to.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to circle the wagons and reassess.
Yeah.
When you make a reassessment, hey, reassessments, either you keep doing what you're doing or you make a change. So,
right.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And especially in that case, considering the timing of it, you remember how initially it's like, okay, yeah, we need to stay home for a couple weeks. And then, all that just kept growing and expanding. So a lot of people were making predictions about what was going to happen with live music. We started seeing more of the virtual concerts and all that stuff, which I still think will probably be sticking around for a while, just not necessarily as often as we were seeing it during that time frame. But not to get too much into other news, but they're always kind of warning about something else kind of lurking out there. So you never really know. It's still a good idea to kind of make sure that you're still ready to be digital, especially if you're one of those people that likes to perform and whatnot, because you never know when something else could happen again where we might need to quarantine for a bit. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and in addition, despite all of the smiles and happiness and happy faces and everything, live music is a grind.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of the equipment, all of the traveling, all of the this, all of the that. I mean, the fuel costs, the cost of the movers, blah, blah, blah. I mean, so ooh-wee, there's a lot that goes into that, to pick up and go from camp to camp, from city to city. Man, shoot, that's not easy at all.
No, not at all. And, there's been a lot of stories that have been circulating lately too about a lot of artists, some of the more mainstream artists, I guess, having a hard time being able to sell out shows. So they might have tons of followers or fans, tons of streams, but for whatever reason, those people aren't actually coming to concerts. So I think that could be another factor that we might be seeing something happen, I guess, with the virtual concerts. To me, if you're one of those artists that's having a hard time, that might be the best way to do it. Maybe your fans would be more willing to catch you doing something online. So, I mean, yeah, there's lots of different paths that it can take, but obviously the sector hasn't fully recovered the same way that it was pre-pandemic. I mean, for a while there, I think they did kind of hit that mark. I want to say like maybe in the second quarter, but it appears that things are kind of slowing down again. So yeah, I mean, we got to see what's happening. Of course, the economy plays a huge factor in that as well. I mean, it's just tons of stuff going on. So right now, I mean, it's the time of year everybody makes those predictions and projections of what's going to happen for 2024. But the truth of the matter is we don't know. It's all best guess. And, just kind of take the information that we have going into it and just observing how people are reacting to things. And, yourself personally, the listener, if you're going to concerts, if you know that your friends and other people are going, or if they're opting to stay home. A lot of times, depending on where you are in the world, that can fluctuate, but for the most part, just by doing some social listening, you can kind of see certain trends before they come, or just kind of have instincts. Yeah, I could see this going well, or maybe this will pick up and whatnot. But yeah, so no matter what predictions and all the other stuff you read, take it to heart, study things, check out what people are saying online, and decide where you want to invest your time and energy coming up for 2024.
Yeah, well, it's easy to actually reflect on tickets being $10, $15, and then suddenly 77, and then suddenly 127, and then suddenly 227. And so I mean, hey, so for an enterprise who's jumping in there trying to, and then they've got to add their expected profit on top of that, and then that 227 becomes 299.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially now with the requirements to have to disclose fees up front. I can't help but think that might give more people pause. I think it's different when you're already into it, and then you get hit with the fees like right then. But with them working to make sure that everything's pretty transparent to begin with, we could see a little dip in that again, because then you have more time staring at that number, deciding if you want to plug in the rest of your credit card information or not. So yeah, it's one of those things we're definitely going to just have to kind of wait and see. But you're right. I mean, yeah, I remember how affordable tickets used to be once upon a time, not to date myself or anything, but yeah, I do remember those $15 concert tickets and whatnot. That was a good time.
That was a good time. And uh, things change, times change, but doggone, that's where you say, wow.
Yeah.
Um, no disrespect to the artists, but they're trying to make their money. But sometimes when the artists are hit uh, with the costs, yeah, in order for them to earn, they got to pass some costs on to the ticket holders, the ticket buyers. So,
Yeah. And I mean, that's really one of the major ways that most artists make their money is just by doing the touring and shows because we
right,
already know what the streaming numbers are like. So,
yeah,
regardless of how many billions, Snoop has been very vocal about that. His videos pop up every now and then. Or this last one, we were talking about like with the billions, it still didn't even equate to $45,000.
yeah, I
So it's
saw
like
that.
you got to make, yeah, they got to make it somehow. So it makes sense, but it's not even like they can just charge whatever because the venue's going to be taking portions of stuff. So yeah, the tickets are going to have to cost more because they need to be able to eat. If they can't live life, afford basic luxuries, they can't really concentrate on making music. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, unless things get better in streaming, I don't think those ticket prices are going to I guess stay stagnant. Of course they're not going to lower, but it might just continue to keep increasing.
Yeah, and the way the whole thing's rolled, like here in Atlanta, about 2, 3 weeks ago, they announced a huge super um, rock and roll concert a couple of weeks ago that's taking place on, I believe, July 13th. I'm like, wow,
Mm.
6 months ahead of time. Some of the mainstream rock bands that we all know from the day, but doggone, 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. You know, back in the day, we're used to maybe a month's time, a month's notice. Okay, but now, you got a 6 month notice, and even at the 6 month notice, uh, folks were really into some spending of some ridiculously high fees. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh no. Just I mean, memories are a lot, but just for the memory of being in that stadium at that time, upcoming time, for some astronomical amounts of funds for one ticket. I don't know.
Yeah. But so see that's one of those things that could be kind of indicating a trend that we might see. So especially knowing how much the tickets are, it makes sense to let people know ahead of time so that way they can prepare. And yeah, to have that much advance notice to just be able to continue to keep promoting it up until then, that's probably the best shot that they're going to have of actually, packing it out the way they want to. Whereas, like you said, back in the day, you probably could have just done a month ahead of time. But now, that actually makes sense. I wonder if we're going to see more of that.
Hmm. We'll find out.
Yeah. How much were the cheap tickets?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was so cost prohibitive. I can't remember what it was, but it was so cost prohibitive that when I caught a feel for where they were going with not me.
You click that X button really fast, right? Just
Yeah,
back
not
off.
me, not me. Yeah. Have fun, guys and girls. Hey, have fun.
Yeah.
But I can't. I couldn't.
That's funny. I mean, it's not, but it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we've seen how things have been going. We'll have to wait to see what 2024 brings. But yeah, there's a good chance we have some idea. And so yeah, if they're advertising 6 months ahead of time, yeah, we might be seeing a lot more of that. Um,
Well, and then also, the truth be told, it wasn't conflicting, but what um, the concert venue was going to be um, the actual stadium where the Atlanta Braves play their baseball. Okay, so now if that's going to be July 13th, well, hey, that's right in the middle of the baseball season. So,
mm,
and I'm like, okay, so they had to find some time when the Braves were going to be out of town in order for them to be able to come in and set up their configuration the way they want it to, without any interruption from the team being there and blah 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 blah. Okay, which that's really great, what I mean? So, but some kind of way, I believe, there's got to be money involved in just that alone,
Mm,
so uh you
yeah.
know, so just the logistics of that, I don't know, but yeah, hey, I wish them well, and some great songs from yesteryear and everything, and but hey, what's coming out of my pocket and my wallet? Oh man, no, I just couldn't do
See, that kind of reminds me of that story we had a few months back with the Live Nation CEO that said that there are a lot of people that are still willing to pay, even if it puts an economic hardship on them. Like they'd rather, just not pay a bill, to go see Beyonce or whatever the case may be, because a lot of tickets are really expensive now. Not just her. I'm not trying to pick on her, but I think that's one that's very widely talked about to how expensive they are. We saw all the memes about them being a mortgage note and whatnot. So yeah, some people do feel like their favorite artists are worth it. So yeah, people are still spending money, even though, it just depends on how well they actually connect with the artist, which is another, good point for the story about Medallion. So the whole point is trying to make sure that you're building that connection. When you build that connection, those people are going to be more likely to show up for you because they feel like they know you and your music. I mean, we've seen what happened with Taylor Swift with her tour and the movie about the tour that was still breaking records. Like her fandom is one of the strongest fan groups I've ever seen. Same thing with Beyonce. Like, yeah. So, I mean, not saying that independent artists have to, put everything out there and try to seek people like their fans, but, just kind of connecting authentically, showing people the behind the scenes stuff, letting them know the good, the bad, some of the stuff in between. That's what helps people build connections with you. And having that type of fan, they can help you with your streaming numbers as well as you actually selling out concerts or selling additional tickets, well, enough to make it viable for you, and put it that way. So yeah, it's one of those things that I think and I hope more artists actually recognize and try to take advantage of next year. So yeah, because I feel like this year we've been seeing a lot of complaints about people maybe not wanting their numbers to be where they are, but yeah, shout out to, was that JOK Entertainment, I think, where she had reposted something where it said, 2023 was basically just to build character. So, like, if things didn't necessarily go the way that you wanted it to this year, that's okay. 2024 is a new year. We go start from the top with the information that we learned, and yeah, we're gonna make it do what it do, right?
it. Yeah, yeah. And while you were talking, I just was for an example, I couldn't come up with a music venue, but I did check on a sports venue just that quickly over the internet. And I pulled up a football game at Soldier Field in Chicago this Sunday. Okay, between the Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons. Okay, the lowest ticket price they got for one is $89. Okay, and so then that flows from 109, 149, 149. I mean, hey, so
Wow.
yeah, for two people, then that's $300.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's only if you just go. Like, I mean, of course, there's so many other costs associated with that on top of it too. So yeah.
yeah, and the highest ticket price that I see so far is 379 for one ticket.
379. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, actually, now I'm 539, 579, 779.
Mm.
Yep. It tops out at 1129 for one ticket.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
hey, I just didn't have the capacity to check a music event, in that quick time while you're talking, but doggone.
Yeah. It still gives you an idea. I mean, the entertainment industry is kind of, you know, I guess, what's the word? Like synchronized like that. So what's happening in music and other forms of entertainment, I mean, people kind of have the same habits across the board.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And as we know, that particular stadium has a reputation for having cold weather.
Mm, yeah, no. Nope, nope, nope.
Especially in December. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
So
But
yeah, no, I think that's a great example. We can kind of build pictures based off of that, just off of what you shared there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but let's keep hope alive for the music industry, and that as far as the live events are concerned, and you know, and I'm sure part of the ticket costs have to do with the digitalization, just allowing me to find what I just found out in 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's paying for that.
Right.
Well, I guess it's us, the consumer,
Exactly. I didn't really want to say that, but yeah.
huh?
It was like the person that actually clicked it and went ahead and bought it paid for us to be able to know. But yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, I mean, we've got a wealth of knowledge. That's what we do here every week. So yeah, just take that information, reflect on it, and yeah, we're gonna say, and not the infamous 2024 is my year, but yeah, we're gonna work towards getting our goals and getting let's see our music dealings the way that we want it to be. So the fact that you're already tuned in and listening to us, you're already on track. So kudos to you.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
All right. Well, you know what? That does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We thank our home stations, Grand Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. And, it's been a blast. And I'm already looking forward to doing this again next year in 2024.
Absolutely, right around the corner. Next thing you know, we'll be in the flow. So, I'd like to thank the listeners from the bottom of my heart for sharing, tuning in, following, commenting, and the whole 9 yards. And hey, there's some great things still on the way. So developing right now. So thanks to all the listeners.
Very much so. It's all right. Till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend. We'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.